7B, percent. So today we're going to talk about percent or percents. Now you've probably seen this symbol before, percent. But I'm going to break percent up into a hyphenated word, per-cent. Percent per 100. Now, if you look at this percent symbol here, it looks kind of like a fraction. Percent per 100. So if you have 7%, that's 7 per 100. Now, many times we'll write that as 7 over 100. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but with fractions, sometimes people do slants for the division symbol in fractions. Sometimes they do it horizontally. It doesn't matter either way. But if you look at this, you see, oh, 7%, it's 7 per 100. And that's really the point of percent. You're dealing with per 100. If 22% of the population believes something, then that means 22 people out of 100 believe that. If 12% have a certain item, then 12 out of 100 have that particular item. So this is percent or percents. When we're dealing with percents, we can always write a proportion as is over of is equal to percent over 100. And that will relate all of these things together. Is over of is equal to percent over 100. And you can answer any question dealing with percents by setting it up in this way. Pretty much any question dealing with percents can be written in 3 different ways. What is 22% of 51? 18 is what percent of 91? 42 is 13% of what? Now I put random numbers in here so that we could see clearly what we're given and what we're trying to find. What is 22% of 51? We're looking for what, right? We have 22, we have 51. Well, how does this fit into is over of is equal to percent over 100? Well, each of these can be broken down into segments. What is 22% of 51? 18 is what percent of 91? 42 is 13% of what? And we can fill these into this is over of is equal to percent over 100. So if I look at this first one, what is? That means where we have is, we'll fill that in with what? Well, we don't know what is, so we're just going to use x. It's a variable. So we say x is, and we can put this much of it together. We know there's always the 100 there. And we're doing is over of is equal to percent over 100. So what is? We don't know. Well, let's put a variable in x. 22%. Percent's on that top right. 22 of 51. Of becomes 51. Do the same thing here. We can do our lines are equal and the 100, those are already always there. 18 is what percent? Oh, we don't know. There's X of 91. And then 42 is 42. 13%. Don't forget 100 there. Of what? And that's what we're looking for. So we're able to create this proportion with any of them. What is? X is what? X is the is. 18 is. 18 goes there. 42 is. 42 goes there. The percent's 22. X. 13. Of 51. Of 91. Of what? X. So now we can solve these for this. And there's a few ways we can do this. We can go through the effort of getting X by itself. So we're dividing by 51 so we can multiply both sides by 51. But you may not feel that comfortable with that. We could do the same thing here and we can work our way around here. But what I find works the best and is simplest for me, so maybe it's simplest for you, is that you can always multiply the diagonal. If I'm looking for this, I'm looking for X. Then you multiply the diagonal, right? The two that are opposite each other, multiply those, and then divide by the one that's opposite what you're looking for. So X is equal to 51 times 22 divided by 100. We can do the same thing here. X is equal to, multiply that diagonal, 18 times 100 divided by 91. 42 times 100 divided by what's opposite, 13. So we can build those that way. So let me grab my calculator quickly. And let's take a look at this. So with this first one, we said 51 times 22. 51 times 22, which gives us 1,122. Divided by 100, which gives us 11.22. Sorry, put that in the wrong spot. Divided by 100 equals 11.22. So what is 22% of 51? 11.22. For the next one, 18 times 100 gives us 1,800 divided by 91 gives us 19.78. And we're looking for what percent? So we will say 19.78%. For this bottom one, 42 times 100, 4,200 divided by 13, what's opposite, gives us 323.1. So 323.1. 42 is 13% of 323.1. 18 is 19.78% of 91. 11.22 is 22% of 51. So every question that we deal with in regards to percents can be put into this pattern. So let's give it a shot. Let me disappear from screen for a moment. And I'll right there. Let's erase this and ask a question. And we were working with word problems previously. So let's do a word problem, but I'm going to state it and write out pertinent information as I hear it. "62 people were surveyed. Of those 62 people, 27 said they liked Mr. Davis. What percentage of the people surveyed liked Mr. Davis?" So 62 people were surveyed, 27 liked Mr. Davis. What percentage of the people surveyed liked Mr. Davis? So let's go back to our is over of is equal to percent over 100. So we have to figure out which of those three sentences to go into. We got 62 people, 27 liked Mr. Davis. What percent? So we're trying to find out 27 is what percent of 62. So let me write that. I'm actually going to get this out of the way so I can rewrite that. 27 is what percent of 62? Now I can put my pieces here. So 27 is 27. What percent of 62? X is equal to, and remember I said we could multiply the diagonal. 27 times 100 or 2,700. Divided by what's opposite, 62, gives you 43.55%. 27 is what percent of 62? 27 is 43.55% of 62. And that's it. If we're asked a problem, the hardest part is pulling the pieces together and saying, which sentence does it fit? Which are these questions? And then once we've got that, 27 is what percent of 62? So we can deal with percents. How about this one? Sales tax in Oneida County is 8.75%. And realize that's sales tax on standard items, that there are actually two different tax rates. There's the standard sales tax, and then there's clothing tax. Clothing is taxed differently. In Oneida County, regular items, a television, a car, anything of that sort, $8.75% is the sales tax rate. If you were to buy clothing, it's 4.75%. And that's because in New York State, the state charges 4% sales tax. And then the county selects how much they're going to charge. And in Oneida County, they charge 4.75% sales tax. So when you buy a radio or Blu-ray player or whatever you happen to buy, furniture, you pay 4% to the state and 4.75% to the county for a total of 8.75%. Whereas if you go out and you buy a new shirt, then the county takes their 4.75% and the state doesn't charge you sales tax on the shirt. And that's where those two different numbers come from. So sales tax in Oneida County, 8.75%. You purchase a television for $188 from Wally World, otherwise known as Walmart. Should I put a trademark on that, or am I going to get penalized for using a brand name? Okay, so sales tax is 8.75%. TV, you buy a TV for $188. How much will you pay in sales tax? And we're asking the dollar amount because we know we're going to pay 8.75%, but how much money will we pay in sales tax? And we can take that a step further and say, what is the total cost of the television? Right, because once we've found out how much the sales tax is going to be, the price of the TV plus that sales tax will give us the total cost. So trying to write this out to a question, so we're trying to find how much is 8.75% of 188. So what is 8.75% of $188? That'll give us our sales tax. So we set up our proportions here is X. Let's put our 100 in because we know that's going to be there. 8.75% of 188. Multiply the diagonal. So 188 times 8.75, which gives us 1,645 divided by what's opposite, 100, which gives us $16.45. So that's the answer to our first question, how much sales tax? $16.45. What's the total cost of the television? 188 plus 1645, which is 204.45. So you bought a TV for $188 at a sales tax rate of 8.75%. That TV ends up costing you $204.45. So there you go. So there's an introduction to percents. Tune in for the next video to see some additional things about markup and discounts.